I understand the Liberals want to silence me and rescue you. It's true.
So,
you are a very bad minister.
Oh, you know what? I prefer Fatouche and Tabouli.
Millions of temporary residents, expiring visas, Canadians struggling to find doctors and jobs. And right here, in the House of Commons, shocking questions about how your government may have the power to mass extend temporary resident visas without proper oversight. What does this mean for Canadians, for temporary workers, and for the future of our immigration system? In the next few minutes, we're breaking down everything: the truth, the risks, and the hidden consequences that the mainstream media isn't talking about. Stay tuned. You won't believe what comes next.
Minister, in late September, the Toronto Star reported that there was over 1 million temporary residents that had expiring visas, and yesterday Statistics Canada said that they had not counted 38% of non-citizens. No wonder that Canadians can't find a family doctor. Will you support an amendment to ensure that your department cannot use the Part 7 powers of C-12 to mass extend temporary resident visas?
Thank you, member, for that question. I know you brought that forward on the committee, and look, I know you worked hard on these, and we appreciate. Well,
this is a new one. So
this is a new one.
Yes,
ask
it's
again.
on notice.
So this is a different one than you brought on the committee.
So will you support an amendment to ensure that your department cannot use the Part 7 powers to mass extend temporary resident visas?
Mass extent. So, did you not bring that to committee?
I used procedure in the House, which I can do.
Okay. So when we go back to the House, members will
you're
vote
here.
on that.
You're here. Is your department going to use the Part 7 powers to mass extend temporary resident visas?
That is not the purpose for that.
It's a yes or a no.
What I'm saying is that is not the purpose for those amendments.
I'm asking you.
The one example I will give you is during COVID. My understanding is the workers that were here at the time, and this is facts, were not allowed to leave the country, who were working here temporarily. So I believe that was an occasion where they could have, or maybe extended them to stay during COVID.
So you do want.
The core issue of the debate. The debate centers on whether Part 7 powers allow mass extension of temporary resident visas. Michelle Rempel-Garner pressed for clarity, but the minister's response was cautious, leaving Canadians uncertain. Key points mentioned below. Over 1 million temporary residents with expiring visas. Unclear government communication creates confusion. Strains healthcare, housing, and job markets. How Canadians are affected. Uncertainty over visas isn't just policy. It affects everyday life. Emergency rooms are crowded, youth job opportunities are limited, and housing demand rises. Key points mentioned below. 1. Healthcare systems are overwhelmed. 2. Housing affordability is challenged. 3. Public trust in policy decisions is shaken. Implications for temporary residents. Temporary workers face stress and disruption. Without clear rules, jobs, studies, and healthcare access are at risk. Key points mentioned below. 1. Delays harm work and education plans. 2. Emotional stress is high among workers. 3. Transparent rules are critical. Economic impact in Canada. Temporary residents are essential to the economy, but unclear policies can create instability. Key points mentioned below. 1. Labor shortages may worsen. 2. Businesses relying on temporary workers face risk. 3. Policy mismanagement could affect Canada's global reputation. The debate shows a fragile balance, protecting Canadians, supporting temporary residents, and ensuring transparency.
Do you want to mass extend temporary resident visas?
That's not what I said.
That's exactly what you just said.
That's not the purpose for C-12.
So I am taking it that the purpose of those powers, based on what you just said, is to mass extend the millions of temporary resident visas that are in the country.
I believe I testified when I was here before on the immigration provisions in C2, which are identical to C12.
You didn't testify on this.
No, but the same thing would follow on the whether you extend or the opposite of extending, annulling.
You were
These are
confused in the House.
exceptional circumstances. These are not something that we
Yes.
look to do.
There's 3 million people in the country on temporary resident visas. That is an exceptional circumstance. It's never happened before in Canadian history. It happened under your government. In the spring, you told me your government has no plans to remove them. You just said that if you had these powers during COVID, you would have extended temporary resident visas. So, I don't want you to use your powers to extend temporary resident visas. That's bad. So can you tell the committee whether or not you intend to use those powers to extend the visas or not?
Let me clarify. No one minister will have that power individually, whether you're extending or doing the opposite of the extending.
So here's the thing.
These will go to cabinet. These will go to an OIC.
Yes.
These will be transparent. These are not something that will be done.
So just
Michelle Rempel-Garner continues pressing the minister about the potential use of Part 7 powers to mass extend temporary resident visas. The minister's responses are cautious and indirect, which raises concerns for Canadians and temporary residents alike. Over 3 million people in Canada currently hold temporary visas, and any sudden policy changes could affect their legal status, access to health care, housing, and employment. While the minister insists that these decisions would go through cabinet and standard procedures, the lack of a clear answer fuels uncertainty. Canadians and workers watching this debate are left questioning who truly safeguards their interests. Risks of mass visa extensions. If Part 7 powers were used to extend visas en masse, the ripple effects could be significant. Housing demand could increase, rental prices might rise, and public services could face added pressure. Youth and Canadian workers may experience increased competition in certain jobs, while temporary residents may face stress and uncertainty about their future. Visas are crucial for the economy. Extending visas without transparency or clear criteria can strain both communities and the immigration system. Key points mentioned below. 1. Overcrowding in housing and strain on services. 2. Potential job competition for Canadians in certain sectors. 3. Emotional stress and uncertainty for temporary residents. Potential benefits if managed properly. Temporary residents fill essential roles in healthcare, agriculture, and service industries. When policies are clear, fair, and transparent, they can support economic growth, fill labor gaps, and maintain critical services. Responsible management protects both Canadians and temporary residents, ensuring trust in the immigration system. Key points mentioned below. 1. Properly managed visas support key sectors of the economy. 2. Clear rules reduce stress for temporary residents. 3. Responsible oversight protects public trust and stability. Why this debate matters? This debate goes beyond politics. It directly affects Canadians' daily lives and the stability of the immigration system. Mismanagement could create economic disruption, strain public services, and reduce trust in government, while responsible governance ensures fairness and stability. Key points mentioned below. 1. Unclear policies risk economic and social disruption. 2. Both Canadians and temporary residents are affected. 3. Transparent decisions build trust in the system.
to be clear, our emergency rooms are overflowing. We have a youth jobs crisis. The provinces, including Quebec, are telling you that they need more money because of the temporary residents. And you are now telling the committee that it is highly possible that you are going to use the powers in Part 7
Point of order,
to
Chair.
do that.
No,
This is my line of...
No, point of order, Ms. Rempel-Garner. Point of order, Mr.
For the
Fredericks.
purposes of the record, I did not hear the minister say those words. Let's just be clear
Can I
about what was
respond on that
said
point of order?
and what was not said.
We are restarting your time, Ms.
No,
Rempel-Garner.
on that point of order.
You have another point of order?
Yes, I do. I appreciate that my colleague may likely be the
No-
minister in a couple
Not
of,
a- not
in
a
a couple
point of
of
order.
months.
Not a point of
But for
order.
now,
Not a
I
point
get
of order.
to ask the current minister.
Not a
Maybe
point
he-
of order.
Thank you.
So please continue with your time.
Maybe I will be likely having this conversation with him in a couple of months. So, Minister, I understand the Liberals want to silence me and rescue you. They shouldn't let him rescue you. He's going to have your job. Will you support an amendment to ensure that your government can't mass extend 3 million people because you have no plan to remove them? Yes or no? And this is really bad. Can you just
Listen,
be clear?
member, when you ask a question, I think you should be able to have decency to let someone respond. If you don't like any responses, then please continue
I don't
to
like
do
your
what
word
you'd like.
salad. It's true.
So-
You are a very bad minister.
Oh, you
So
know what?
will you
I
support
prefer
my-
fattoush and tabbouleh to your salad at any time.
That is the oddest thing any immigration minister
Well,
has
and-
said at this committee. It's very
No, but
weak
it's
and
my culture. I
will
can't-
likely
it
be
is
added
what
to
it
your
is.
performance review. So will you
Thank you so
support
much.
a Part 7 amendment to ensure that your government cannot use the mass extension powers or the powers in Part 7 to mass extend millions of temporary resident visas?
So, member, you're
Your
free
answer
to make
literally-
any amendments you like within
Will
the
you support it?
procedure that is there. I will take a look, just like any reasonable minister, reasonable whatever.
do you
in
think
terms
millions
of
of
what you put
residents
forth.
should
Thank
be
you, Minister.
extended?
Thank you, Ms. Rempel-Gardner. That is time.
Taking a clear stand on visa extensions, Michelle Rempel-Garner presses the minister repeatedly, asking whether the government intends to use Part 7 powers to mass extend temporary resident visas. The tension in the House is palpable. While the minister deflects, Canadians watching this can feel the weight of the issue. Over 3 million temporary residents in the country, healthcare and housing stretched thin, and the public left unsure what the government will do next. Key points mentioned below. 1. Lack of direct answers creates uncertainty for Canadians and temporary residents. 2. Millions of people are potentially impacted by government decisions. 3. Citizens are concerned about fairness and accountability. 4. The debate shows a need for clarity and responsible governance. Pressure on public services. The footage reveals a system under pressure. Emergency rooms are overflowing. Youth unemployment is a concern, and provinces like Quebec are requesting additional funds to handle the growing number of temporary residents. This is not just a numbers game. These policies have real consequences for public services and Canadians' daily lives. Key points mentioned below. 1. Healthcare systems are under extreme stress. 2. Housing demand is rising in multiple regions. 3. Public funds are increasingly strained to support temporary residents. 4. Youth and Canadian workers may face added competition. The complexity of government powers. Lena Metlege-Diab emphasizes that no individual minister has unilateral power. Decisions would go through cabinet. While this provides a system of checks, it also creates ambiguity. Canadians and temporary residents need clear guidelines, but the footage shows that political processes can be confusing and slow. Key points mentioned below. 1. Part 7. Powers are not absolute but are complex and opaque. 2. Ambiguity in procedures can cause stress and uncertainty. 3. Transparent decision-making is essential to maintain trust. 4. Both Canadians and temporary residents are affected by unclear policy. Temporary residents, essential but vulnerable. Temporary residents are a backbone of Canada's workforce in critical sectors like healthcare, agriculture, and service industries. Yet they remain vulnerable to policy changes. The footage makes it clear that uncertainty over visa extensions can impact their employment, studies, healthcare, and overall stability in Canada. Canada is standing in a moment where every decision made inside the House of Commons will echo across the entire country. This debate isn't just political drama. It affects our hospitals, our housing market, our job opportunities, and the stability of millions of temporary residents who contribute to our communities every single day. Whether the government chooses to use these Part 7 powers or not, Canadians deserve clarity. Temporary workers deserve stability. And the immigration system deserves transparency, fairness, and a long-term vision that doesn't leave anyone in limbo. At the end of the day, the question is simple. Will Canada choose a path that strengthens our economy, protects public services, and provides real solutions? Or will we continue to operate in uncertainty? This moment will shape how Canada balances compassion with responsibility, growth with fairness, and opportunity with stability. No matter where you stand, this debate affects all of us. And the decisions made here will define the future of Canada's immigration system for years to come.